So I'm going to go ahead and jump right into our first question. This comes from Jamie, and she says, when starting the writing logs, I'm assuming she means the learning logs, for spell to write and read, do they need to be done in cursive, or can my child write them in print? So that's a great question. So my first response is, well, it depends on the age of your student, and basically what is your goal for the student's penmanship. So if you want your student to be writing in cursive, then that's where your focus needs to be. But you're going to handle it differently depending on the age of your student. So if you have a young student who's just getting started with learning about reading and writing, maybe kindergarten, first grade, okay, then what you want to do is you want to spend that time getting the cursive established. If that's what you want your student to be writing in cursive from the very beginning, you want to spend that time at the beginning. There are huge advantages to starting a young student with the cursive writing. And so you want the student to be well established with their cursive before you get into the WISE Guide and start teaching the spelling lists. Now, if you're teaching a kindergartner, and I'm assuming, you're starting from the very beginning, it's the beginning of school, we're just getting started, a kindergartner can take up to, say, 9 weeks to really go through the A through Z phonograms, learning the cursive, and getting started with learning those phonograms. So a kindergartner, about 8-9 weeks. A first grader, you would take maybe up to 4 weeks. So you're going to go much faster with a first grader. So you want to get that well established before you get into the actual spelling list, because in order to teach, the student has to be able to write and take dictation based on what they're hearing. So you're not going to be giving them little tracing sheets to trace over as they're learning their spelling words. They're not going to be copying them. They're going to be hearing you dictate the words sound by sound and writing and being able to keep up with you. And so they need to have that established. Now, what if you're teaching an older student, say second grade on up? Well, you have two options. The first is to just go ahead and start with the manuscript and just get started. You can jump right, you can teach the phonograms, and actually in one of the other questions I'm going to go through some of the beginning steps. But what you do is you get started having the student write in the manuscript, unless the student's writing is illegible and so bad that you need to address penmanship, but we're going to assume that, well, it's decent. Okay, so you go ahead and get started with the manuscript. Meanwhile, you're teaching the cursive as a separate subject. So you have your spelling lesson, and then you'll also have your penmanship time. And that's when you would be going through and teaching the cursive. Now, when the student is more automatic with the cursive and able to keep up with your dictation, then you would bring the cursive into the spelling lesson. And then from then on, you would expect cursive to be the primary method of penmanship. Okay, so that's the first option. The second option is take some time at the very beginning and work on cursive before you jump into the spelling lists. If that's where you're going and I just want to get this covered. Now with an older student, you can take, 2-3 weeks to go through the cursive quickly and just get it up and going. Obviously, they're not going to have it mastered, and it's going to take practice before it to become more natural for them, but you can get them into it. There was a mom I know, and she really wanted to get her older student, I don't remember how old he was, I want to say he was at least third grade, and she really wanted to get him going on the cursive. And so what she did is she gathered together some other homeschool students in the area, and she basically held for 1 week a cursive boot camp with all these boys, and the moms would bring their kids over to her house, and for 1 week, I don't know how many hours a day, maybe it was like an hour a day or something like that, they did a cursive boot camp. And at the end of the week, those kids had A through Z phonograms, they were ready, and boom, they were able to take off then with the spelling lists and get started. So that was an option. So let me just recap. For a young student, you need, if cursive is your desire, you need to spend that time getting the cursive established. It does not have to be perfect, meaning the student's penmanship is obviously going to need practice, but you can get them up and going. A kindergartner, it's going to take 8-9 weeks. A first grader, maybe 3 to 4 weeks. Okay, you want to get that established if that's the penmanship that you have chosen. For an older student, you have 2 choices. You can get them started with the manuscript, meanwhile teach it as a penmanship subject, and then bring it into your spelling lesson once it's automatic. Or do a cursive boot camp. Doesn't have to be a week, but you can do it, just crank it out, get it done, and then get started with your spelling list. So there's some options for you. Okay, so that's the first question.